Now it is day 15 and day 16 of my plan to become the heaviest marathon runner. That's June 15th and June 16th. On June 15th, I did train legs and shoulders. I had the pain in my shin, so I stopped doing the hack squats because that's when I had the burning sensation in my shins, as I usually do. I didn't do squats after that either. I figured I'd just give my legs a break. After that, I ran on the treadmill for a bit. I honestly only did 30 minutes approximately there, mostly because of the pain in my shins. I figured it's not a bad idea to give my legs a little bit of a break after all the lifting and running and, with the extra body weight I've been carrying. So I only did 30 minutes running on the treadmill. And I was doing 6.5 miles per hour because that's the steady running. The most important update from that run is obviously not the speed. It felt very casual, very easy. 30 minutes was going by no problem, very fast. Exactly as it was supposed to. But the most important thing is that my heart rate seemed to have dropped significantly from previous workouts. It stayed in the 130s for most of it. I think after 10 minutes or so, it went up to the 140s maybe. But before that, it was going up to 150s. I don't know about 160s. When I ran the 5K and I was running outside, yeah, I'd run that pace and maybe it'll go 170s. But that's also with the heat and hills and everything. So, but on the treadmill, going 6.5 miles an hour, maybe it would get me 150s, just the last workout. This time, it was only, honestly, 130s for a while, 140s eventually. So that drop in heart rate is actually a very good sign, because when you do slower, it shows that my body's kind of normalizing, right? Before, I would run 6.5 miles per hour when I was at my lower body weight, and my heart rate would stay close to 130. Maybe even below 130, to be honest. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I think it was below 130 at one point, because it's a very casual pace. So the fact that my heart rate seems to have dropped in that one is a really good sign. It means that my body's coming down to what it was before. And remember, before I was in much better shape for that sub 3 hour marathon, I could handle the pace much easier. So that's the number one thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring my heart rate down. I can run the pace of the marathon, and I have the endurance. The energy, I should say, not endurance. But the heart rate needed to come back down. So it's good that it's starting to come down. Then we have June 16th, which is a Tuesday. And I trained arms, same thing as before. The weights definitely feel easier. My arms are definitely stronger than just a couple weeks ago. Of course, I used 70-pound dumbbells in the first sets, and 65 and 60, and I worked my way down. But overall, arms aren't the most important thing, but it is important to note that I was getting stronger. After that, when I did the running, I said last time that I did 8.5 mile an hour interval, right? Because on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I do the interval training where I alternate between 8.5 miles an hour and 6 miles an hour for now, right? Until I get the full hour, and then after that, I'm going to increase the speeds. And the last workout, I said that I got it to 3-minute intervals for the 8.5 mile an hour pace, which was the ultimate goal, right? I considered going further, decided in the end I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to focus on extending it to the full hour and then increase the speeds to make sure I'm doing full cardio for the whole hour and I'm not slowing down too much. But at the same time, training the fast speeds I need. So, of course, the goal for this one was 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and you alternate off to 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and then go back. And in the previous workout, I know I didn't do 2 full cycles before I started to slow down a bit more, meaning go down to 4 miles an hour for fast walking, or slower if something feels off. Like I said, I didn't make it 2 full cycles, and also when I restarted after, maybe I do 2 minutes or a minute and a half or something, right after I recover and I'm walking. maybe 2.5 minutes at 8.5 miles an hour, or 2, but not the full 3. So the good news on this one is that I was doing the 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and then 6 minutes for 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes, and then I did it for 2 full cycles this time, right? So it was 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes, 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes, 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes, 6 miles an hour for 3 minutes. I can't remember if I tried going back up to 8.5, but I didn't do any more than that. And then I believe I slowed down to the fast walk, which felt much easier than before. Of course, just for really easy recovery. And then after that, whenever I did start back up again to go to 8.5 miles an hour, I did the full 3 minutes again, right? I'm forcing the 3 minutes because that means I'm jogging it for a decent amount of time so that my body's just going to eventually be so comfortable with it that I can just do it for 3 hours and finish the marathon in less than 3 hours. So that is really good. There's progress. Of course, that means that next time I have to go more than the 2 full cycles. Maybe, trying to think, either 2.5 or 3. Either add the extra 8.5 miles an hour for 3 minutes at the end, or go 8.5 and then another 6. I'm not sure which one I want to do, but definitely more than what I did this time. But the fact that I did do all of it is very good, because it is steady progress, and the fact that 8.5 miles an hour is feeling so comfortable for me now. That is a 7-minute mile pace, and it is feeling comfortable even if I can't maintain it for half an hour. But from my previous training, when I was at smaller body weights, this feeling I have now for 8.5 miles an hour, it doesn't take long before I can just extend it for a whole half hour, whatever. So, because like I said, once you're comfortable at it and you can just alternate between 8.5 miles an hour and 6 like that, your body's very comfortable with it. So eventually, just you do that for hours every single day, and before you know it, it's very casual for you. So, so that's really good. The fact I was recovering at 6, going back up to 8.5 for another 3 minutes, and then every time I bounce back, I made sure to do 3 minutes, right? And that's something you just tell yourself in your head. You have to do the full 3 minutes, instead of passing it up. No stopping because you're tired. Always 3 minutes. And now, even if it feels easy the first time, it's fine. I can just slow down to 6 miles an hour. Even if I feel good, I can go further. Only because the goal is 3 minutes. Because then you have a good recovery, which means they can go back for another 3 minutes. Good recovery, back for another 3 minutes. And then, like I said, before you know it, you're just going to be able to do a full 3 hours without slowing down at all. And again, there is a little bit of question whether I should just extend it and do 3.5 minutes at 8.5 miles an hour, then 4 minutes, and 4.5 minutes, and 5 minutes. But right now, this is the plan. Right? Plans always change depending on what you think is the best path in any given moment. But right now, I think this is the best path. Just make sure I extend it to an hour, and I'll speed it up. Not, next time it'll be 9 miles an hour for the fast pace, 6.5 for the slow pace. And then, and like I said, the other days, which right now I'm using 6.5. If you're alternating between 10 miles an hour and 7.5 miles an hour, then 8.5 miles an hour is probably going to be your alternating days, right? The Monday, Wednesday, Friday pace. That's easier. So, so overall, I don't think it's going to take long. I think before the end of the summer, unless I have an injury, which I tend to get, I do think that I'll be able to just maintain that pace for hours. Whether it's a full marathon or not, I don't know that. But I do think as long as I don't get injured, it won't take me long to maintain that for hours with the way I'm training now and the results I'm seeing. The only thing I will also say to that is I only went for about, I don't know, it was more than 30 minutes, but less than an hour. So I didn't go super long, and the only reason why is because I was feeling a little bit of pain in the tendon behind my left knee. Not an injury, not really, but you want to listen to your tendons. and that's kind of what I did. So towards the end of it, I ended up just walking fast, and then I did decide to just give it a break. So today I'll just get some collagen and vitamin C because it's good for tendon health. And but I didn't continue too long doing cardio, only because I felt a tendon, and feeling a tendon isn't really a good thing. So I decided to just kind of cut it a bit short. And again, I don't know if that is really an indicator that my body isn't ready for it yet, which would be a big problem because that means it's kind of like a permanent block. Or if it was just something I was feeling in the moment. Sometimes you feel it when you just increase volume a lot, or you increase speed or distance randomly, then it kind of sorts itself out in a day or two. And other times it's really just too much for your body. So we'll have to wait and see which one it is. And hopefully it's just my body just being a bit weird for a day, and that I can just do the full hour, 2 hours of cardio, but hour of running like that in the coming days. That way I can do my full training. So, and like I don't feel it now. Nothing feels injured. Nothing feels bad. It was just stressed out, right? It's like if your joint hurts or your shoulder hurts when you're lifting, which that's never supposed to happen. So it's just better to not push into it, because you can easily turn a shin splint into a stress fracture if you're not careful. So that's the only reason why I backed off. But it was still half an hour to 45 minutes of quality running, and the fact that I already got that piece means I can keep it for a lot longer. So the training was still there, the progress was still there. Even if my body's tendons tell me to back off a little bit, I can always focus on speed. Speed doesn't need as much volume training. Volume training is really good for when you just need to comfortably cruise for 3 hours. But if you just do more intense but shorter workouts, 30 minutes of hard interval training, if you push yourself mentally and physically, you will have permanent benefits that will carry over to when you can do the full 2 hours of training. So I'm not too worried about it. I still saw the progress I needed. I didn't need more progress, so I'm comfortable with that. And so that's it. Lower heart rates have been noticed in the past 2 workouts, and also more comfortable running at the pace required to run the minimum speed to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So overall, it was a success. And on that note, I'm going to end the video.